Bola Tinubu is rightly in London as we speak. Apart from
Doing what?
doing meeting people. As of yesterday, we saw a picture of where he met Toyin Suberis. Toyin Suberis was the MD CEO of ITV, HITV, So Asiwaju is in London. Probably, it's possible that he's taking some rest before the kick-up, rejuvenating. Campaign is not a child's play. Going around.
It's not a tea party.
Yeah, you know. So going around the country, the 36 states of the Federation, holding meetings, it's not a joke. So Asiwaju, in his own private, personal thinking, thinks that he needs to, reinvigorate and get more strength for the task ahead. You will agree with me that after this year, before the primaries and even after the primaries, no presidential candidate has worked like Asiwaju did. Before the primaries, he was moving around, canvassing for support and all of that. And even immediately after the primary, he did not rest. He ensured that he visited all other aspirants that contested, even those that withdrew for him at the primaries. And he has been moving around, doing consultations from one place, royal palaces, and all of that, holding meetings across the nation. So it is common sense and it is experience.
It's only natural that it takes time out.
And thank God that all the rumors that has been going on that is on the sick bed have been quashed by the video, the pictures we see, and so Asiwaju is coming back.
To be a would-be president, is resting even before the program commences. The signs are very clear that this particular person, with every sense of responsibility, does not have the physical fitness. And let me say this, that the problem we're having in Nigeria today is tasking, is arduous, is onerous, such that we need physical fitness. disagreement that is being resolved, and I can assure you that the unifier that Alhaji Atiku is will definitely unify. If somebody is a unifier, that does not mean that issues of this nature cannot couple. The ability to unify makes him a unifier, and then if he's unifying,
they say charity.
Hold on.
They say charity
begins at home. He's doing it. What I'm trying to say is that if there are issues, it does not mean that the issues will be resolved in a day, but there are processes, and he's doing that. Don't forget that the BOT member, had meeting with Governor Wike recently. I think a day before yesterday or thereabout. Acting. No. It is you that is saying installment. It is work in progress.
Okay.
And in that meeting, Governor Wike said it categorically that he's a member of PDP and that it's a work in progress. What else do you need? What we need to do, I assure you, is that all is well. There's no cause for alarm. If there's any place to express alarm, it is PDP. I mean, it is APC. We have told you.
Before we look at before we look at other issues within your party, there are so many issues. This is just one of the many issues.
Yes, mention other one.
There's the other one that centers around the housing allowance saga, the 150 million returned by some members of your NWC, and the position of your national chairman on that. Recently, we heard that a committee has been set up to investigate why these monies were returned by your national chairman. That means that it's the PDP against the PDP, but we'll come back to that. Now,
let me explain to you.
We would come back to that. Mr. Oni Olalekan, it's been said by your counterparts in the PDP that there is crisis in your party. How true is that?
Which one?
Mr. Oni Olalekan, is there crisis in the APC?
Let me say that I think the only crisis he mentioned was about the list.
The presidential campaign list.
PCC list. And that same day, the national publicity, why the propagandists came up with a letter that emanated from the national chairman directly to Asiwaju Tinubu, who is the incoming president of Nigeria by God's grace. And that same day,
decide that?
Yeah, that's why I put by God's grace, incoming. Okay. I didn't say president.
Okay.
So that same day, the national publicity secretary of the APC debunked that letter. So what else do you want?
How did the letter emanate in the first instance? That's the question.
That's why I said that a letter by propagandists.
Who is the propagandist?
Why do I need to mention it?
Okay,
so if you say a letter came from the national chairman and the national publicity secretary said that there was no letter, then I don't know if you wrote the letter. I don't know. Maybe the letter came from PDP. But let me also say this quickly before you ask your next questions. If you have noticed, it is one of the most difficult tasks to do is to sell Atiku Abubakar. Very difficult. I can see that my counterpart is really struggling, and I've been to different media houses and I found out that it is always difficult. How can you say that Wike is one person? Wike as one person is even more than some of the 10 stakeholders in PDP. Wike has 5 governors with him. Chief Bode George is a major stakeholder in PDP, especially in the Southwest. So if you have these people saying that Iyorchia Ayu must resign, and you're saying that it's just the interest and all of that, how can you say Wike is just a person? Wike that nurtured your party for like 3 good years, sponsors it's more than 10 persons.
Okay.
Well, literally speaking, Wike is just one person.
Oh,
well.
So if you have another explanation to your position that is not one person, probably you should set that.
I said there are 5 governors with Wike.
Okay.
Sheyi Makinde is with Wike. This Beno Otom is with Wike. Then we have this other governor. So we have this other governor with Wike. I'm trying to remember the governor. We have the Enugu State governor with Wike. We have the Cross River State governor with Wike. We saw when you presented your list, their presidential campaign council list. We saw how people withdrew. You will know that there is a hand in all these people, Arakpaja and Co, that are returning monies and all of that. You will know that. How can you say that there is no crisis in PDP? How?
Let me explain to you.
Okay, I'll give you just 1 minute to explain that because we have other questions.
I have told you that what we have in PDP today is just internal disagreement between members. The question in the middle of all of these assertions and insinuations is that why did members of your National Working Committee return money to your national chairman, and then some members
in your national secretariat, in the party's secretariat, said they would not receive the official letter written to the national chairman because they see it as a joke.
Whichever way. Now, I want you to know that the National Executive Council Committee is the highest organ of the party, and it's not made up of one individual. It's made up of so many members. So, and I've said it here that when majority takes decision, that decision becomes binding on all other. It does not matter the opinion of the minority. It's a generally accepted axiom that majority will always have its way, while minority will have its say. Now, at the level of NEC, they met. I can tell you that there's no person who can issue bank transfer without the resolution of validly conducted meetings of the National Executive Committee. Now, it was resolved at that meeting that housing allowances must be paid or should be paid to NEC members. I'm sure you know they stay in Abuja. They will need to get their housing. If they are getting housing, their drivers will be there. You can't put a member of NEC in a place and ask his driver to go and escort.
Arapada doesn't stay in Abuja.
I'm just trying. Whether wherever he stays, it does not stay in Abuja. Does not mean that he should be denied of what belongs to him at the level of that NEC resolution. But you know, I'm not saying that he can stay anywhere, but that does not mean that he should be denied of what actually belongs to him. So they give them housing allowances to take care of themselves, their aides, their security, their drivers, cooks, and all of that. They have to, input that because they will not be giving money to security alone or differently or giving it to driver alone. They have to give it to their principal, who now knows how to handle it. So that's exactly what has happened. Now, if some people feel that they don't want it, how has that become a problem? I'm sure it's not all of them that returned it. Some of them, majority of them collected it and used it for the purposes for which it is meant. So if some, for reasons known to them, personal reasons known to them, so we are not taking this in, how has that become an issue?
Now, the fundamental issue in the PDP right now is the fact that the presidency was not zoned to the south, and the ranks of the party, to a lot of us, the wiki apologists, is somewhat lopsided. They think that the national chairman cannot be from the north, and then the presidential candidate will be from the north, and then the BOT chairman. Okay, well, thankfully the BOT chairman resigned at some point. But the point is, some of the members of your NWC who returned this money, the majority of them, 6 of them, are from the south. Arapada is from the south. The national vice chairman, South also returned. Mrs. Stella, who is also from the south, also returned her money. Don't you think this is a signal, a subtle signal that has been sent to the leadership of the party? There's no such signal. I have told you that you have a right, unless you want to tell me that you don't have a right to accept something or reject it. If you are telling me that there's no such right, then we can begin another conversation of their own. But the fact remains that they have been given what they are entitled to from the party. Now, if they now return it, we shouldn't create issues out of it. This is what I'm trying to say. The fact remains that they are entitled to it, and it has been resolved at the level of the National Working Committee that this money be paid to them. They submitted their bank data. Abi, they were the one. It was not national chairman who went and got or created the bank account for them. They were the one who submitted the bank accounts for onward transmission of what their entitlements. And do you want the national chairman to put a call to head up them? Look, we are transferring money to your account. I'm sure you don't in those states here now. We have what do you call them? Public office holders who had also submitted their account details to relevant departments. So if they want to pay to them now, to such accounts,
that they have submitted, without will the governor or any other person assigned for that business or duty call them, look, SSA to Mr. Governor, we want to send money to your account. No, they submitted the bank details.
Okay.
So they are paid what they are entitled to. So what is the issue? We have to discuss another issue. I have told you that there are some people, APC is trying to create crisis where there is no crisis. Where we should be looking to for crisis is ABC. Where there are problems.
Without overflowing
there's no
this
crisis
issue,
in
Mr.
PDP.
Onyolalekon, you have been talking so much about your presidential candidate and why Nigerians should choose him as the next president in 2023. What do you think are some of the attributes that sets him apart from other candidates?
Well, this is a question I always love to answer. Asiwaju Tinubu is the best candidate to become the next president of Federal Republic of Nigeria. Why? Track record speaks for him. His records while he was the governor of Lagos State. So many things, from economy to security to human capital development, transportation in Lagos, how environment, how he raised the IGR of Lagos from 600 million naira to almost 15 billion naira in a month. Education, he did excellently well. And the Lagos of today, where everybody across the country, across Africa, across the world runs to, the foundation of those successes that we experience in Lagos today were laid by Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Today, Lagos ranked among the biggest economy, not just in Africa, but in the whole world. Presently, in Africa, Lagos is the 6th largest economy and 3rd largest economy in West Africa. These are the things that Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu has done. And by the time Nigerians vote for him in the next general elections, he is bringing to fore all these experiences, all this track record to improve, please mark my word, to improve on the successes that has been gained by this present administration of President Muhammadu Buhari. Let me also say that in employment, Asiwaju in one day, in the year 2000, employed 2,600 graduates in Lagos State. In fact, some of the people that were employed are listening to me presently as I speak. Asiwaju created many ministries to ensure that we have more people who comes into the civil service. When Asiwaju became the governor of Lagos State, 50% out of 100% of civil servants in Lagos were ghost workers. He immediately did an audit of civil servants in Lagos State and ensured that ghost workers were laid off and paved way for new employees in Lagos State and increased the welfare of civil servants in Lagos State. Today we have LASU in Lagos State. LASU is not under ASU, so LASU has not been experiencing anything called strike. And Asiwaju invested over R1 billion in LASU to improve the standard of education of LASU and make LASU is Lagos State University, and increased the conducive learning environment of LASU. I can count on and on. But all this is exactly what we are using to campaign for Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Secondary school, today you can go online and see that people talk about my Asiwaju story. What has Asiwaju done? If one way or the other, Asiwaju has helped a lot of people. The One Day Governor initiative, which was started by Asiwaju, some of the young students of secondary school that were made One Day Governor then are now great men and women in the society who are saying that this is my Asiwaju story. Asiwaju is non-tribalistic. It is only in Lagos that you have an Igbo man or an Hausa man who is a commissioner. We have a lot of them. We have Ben Akabweze, who is already the federal DG for budget, who is from the southeast. We have Joe Igbokwe, who was a essay doing under Asiwaju, and we are telling the youth of Nigeria that the only candidate that can promote the youth to an enviable status in the society is Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. The current governor of Lagos State, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, was appointed as an SSA to Tinubu while he was 36 years old. Muiz Banire is a popular name in the legal industry. He was appointed by Tinubu at 37 years old, and many more people who were young people, and Asiwaju admitted them into his administration, and today they have moved on from that to become great people in the society. So these are more what we are using to promote Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu as the next president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
All right, you just said that in the cabinet of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, he had people from different extracts, from the north, from the east,
yes,
and put them together, talents basically together for the development of the state at that time.
Yes,
that to a layman is the basic definition of unifying. Now, that would bring my question to Mr. Aleye Igbagbo of the PDP. Now, one of the basic things you've been campaigning with is the issue of Atiku being a unifier. I want you to talk around this point. How does he intend to unify the country if elected in 2023?
Thank you. Let me say this. One of the basic or the greatest feature that we required of the next president of Nigeria, I say again, is physical fitness. It's because the country
is your party's presidential candidate physically fit?
Yeah, he is. You can see. In this country as it is now has been starkly disunited, disoriented, and disharmonized. So somebody who is going to be there must be physically fit to unify the country that is already.
How does physical fitness
Simple.
and unification relate?
Just hold on.
How?
Just hold on. Now, the problem we are having in this country today is because the president of this country is not strong. It's not that strong. I don't know.
How?
Just hold on, my brother.
You had your time, Mr. Lalikon.
Just hold on.
Let him speak, please.
Me, I can also interject you. I just decided not to do so. So just allow me. Now, what major problems we have today is because the president is not always available, maybe due to ill health and some other things like that, and that's why there's no leadership. Everybody is a leader in his own way. That's why the country is so disoriented and so disunited this time around. Then again, Nigerians are not going to be taken in by deceit. Because this particular candidate, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, sold this deceit to us in 2015, saying that President Muhammadu Buhari is bringing change in the economy, change in the security, change in the corruptive nature of governance. But today there is high level government backed up criminal conspiracy against the nation, where the mainstay of Nigeria economy, which is oil, is being frittered, is being stolen recklessly by those in government, and they have no, and they are talking about corruption, and they have no solutions to it. That's why they keep on borrowing, because what should have been taken as wealth for us has been frittered away by government backed up criminals.
Okay, well,
I'm coming.
All right.
I'm coming. Now, you know there's problem in Ukraine and Russia now. We should be feeding fat on such now. Now we are borrowing. Already we have borrowed this generation. Now it's borrowing the next generation now. I'm sure before he leaves, third generations will not be able to pay for this. So Nigerians to be very, very careful about all these superfluous statements. We should go beyond these rhetorics and tell us what and how he will do it. And I've told you that one of the major things that will affect us is if you are not fit. If you are not fit, there's no way you can do all these things. If you are sick, my dear sister, if you are sick, to even lift your leg or lift your hand, it's a difficult thing. So Nigeria is a very big country, and it's a very big mess now. That like somebody will do this, somebody who's already resting before the campaign start, and you're saying he's going to do this. It's easier said than done.
It seems as though you do not have anything to campaign with. I asked you a question about your candidate, and you're busy talking about another party.
Hold on. I've just told you now. I've just that, by the way. What my party is going to do, I have told you, is to first of all unite the country. I have told you that this country is in disharmony. This country is in disarray as a result of nepotism, as a result of lopsidedness, as a result of gender insecurity, and as if that gender insecurity is also being masterminded by those in government. So what our government, represented by Alhaji Atiku Abubakar as the next president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, is going to do is to first of all unite the country by rebuilding the confidence of government in the governed. Because as I can tell you today now, the Nigerians have lost confidence in this country. And if you can see, if you notice, there are so many people migrating out of this country now because of this hopelessness. So what we are going to do first of all is to rebuild the confidence of the people, by bringing the country to them again, because this country is is not in the hands of Nigerians today. So what we are going to do now is to return the country to Nigerians.
When you spoke the other time in your submission, you were speaking as if the PDP is a budding political party in Nigeria. Your party was in government for 16 years.
Yes.
Uninterrupted.
Good.
And towards the end of that, of the Jonathan administration, which was the last PDP president we had before the advent of the APC administration,
right,
there were lots of, because you spoke about corruption, we need to, speak to some of the salient issues,
right,
without having to be bitter in our submission. Now, there were a lot of corruption cases instituted during the administration of Goodluck Jonathan, especially the most popular of these corruption cases was the diversion of the 2.5 billion naira meant for the purchase of arms to prosecute the war against Boko Haram at that time. And a lot of people, officials in that government, were indicted in the case. How would you explain this?
Now, what this party, APC, says it was going to do is to nip or eradicate corruption. But I can put it to you now, as corruption.
The question is, you cannot keep dancing around my questions. The question is, was there corruption during the PDP administration?
People were prosecuted. I'm sure Chief Sunday Afolabi, who was very close to Obasanjo as at that time,
and then we had Dasuki Get is still very fresh.
Chief Bode George was prosecuted, and they were prosecuted and they were judged. But today, PDP or APC should tell me one single person that he has prosecuted successfully, in spite of the corruption mantra that he wrote to power. They should tell us who they have prosecuted to the final conclusion. So, if there will be corruption in any society, the ability, the capacity to arrest it is what makes governance and government. Now, I have told those that they were indicted and they were prosecuted. I want APC, Mr. Oni, to tell me any singular person that has been prosecuted or indicted, prosecuted, and the judgment has been given and been served in this APC today. What they have been doing is that when you get to APC, sinners becomes saints. That has always been. Except he has to tell me particular person. I want him to tell you that before we. I am not. Has been indicted, has been prosecuted. I have told you those that have been indicted and prosecuted in the PDP, and those who says that they are going to eradicate corruption, bring it to the BRS. They should tell me now anyone, singular person, they have ever indicted or prosecuted up to the final conclusion.
What's your reaction to that, Mr. Olalekan?
Corruption. Well, I am here to promote Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And one of the things I want to tell my counterpart is this: please, any opportunity you have anywhere, promote your candidates. You have spoken more about APC than even Atiku Abubakar,
because we don't
which
have
is not
issues
good for your work, which is not good for what you are representing.
It's not.
No,
we have no problem.
We are talking about the 2023 elections, and you should speak more.
when you are
about
yes,
Atiku
yes, but
Abubakar
if you
than
say something,
APC. You
if you
have
say
said
something,
APC
no,
government and
if
all
you
of
say
that.
something, yes, I'm
said-
sorry, my brother. If you say something that needs to be put straight, to be straightened,
No,
who
it's
will
not
say
about
it?
me. He asked you that how is Atiku Abubakar going
Okay,
to be
on this
I
unified?
said, I said
No,
it.
you didn't say-
I
we were
said,
talking about
I said
APC,
what we
Bola
want to do
Tinubu, APC,
is to
Bola Tinubu,
unify, is to
APC.
bring.
How?
I said
He
Nigerians
asked you
will.
how.
I said our party, our government will bring
How?
Nigeria to Nigeria.
How will you unify?
Nigeria
Alright,
is
so
out.
we
Nigeria
have
is out of Nigerians. It's out of the hands of Nigerians. And what we are going to do is to bring Nigeria back to Nigerians. We are going to rescue it. We are going to rebuild it.
Mr.
We are going to recover it from the fangs of those that have held it at the jugular. That's what I've said.
Mr. Legbagbo, well, I said the other time that you were just dancing around my
No. Except you don't really
You've not
listen
been
to me very carefully.
You've not been expressly
I
assertive.
want you to take your time
About-
and be at home with me so that you can understand the
No.
message.
Anyways,
The
our
syllabus
time
there.
is fast
Time is
spent.
fast
Unfortunately,
spent.
you did not succeed in selling your candidates to Nigeria.
Oh, so how else do you want me to say it?
But
I have told you. See, you need to listen carefully.
before
Don't
we
be
go,
asked. Put your hands here.
Before we go on the show this morning, Mr. Legbagbo, I'll quickly ask Mr. Onyolalikon to talk about this issue of money politics in Nigeria, the issue of vote buying and the involvement of youth. Remember that in 2019, youth were not as actively involved in politics as we have it now. It's a wave, actually. Go on social media, you see how much of interest they have in who becomes the next president of Nigeria.
Yeah.
Now, how is your party, and especially the presidential candidate, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, working to ensure that youths are given that sense of belonging and hope ahead of the elections?
I think that I have answered that question even before you asked me. I told you about how Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu promoted youth while he was the governor of Lagos State. So that's a hope.
That was
already.
in the past.
Yes, now that's antecedent.
What's the plans for the future for 2023?
For 2023, by the time Nigerians vote for Asiwaju as the next president of Nigeria, young people in Nigeria should expect that there will be an integral part of his administration in all, and they will have a sense of belonging. It is what he has done before. He will do it again. You know, I'm happy you asked the question about the involvement of youth and the reawakening of youth in politics and all of that. It's a very good one for the polity, for the country, and for, you know, the politics and elections and all of that, because we have the vast majority of young people who have their PVCs and registered and all of that. So it's very good. And I'm also saying that this involvement should not stop in campaigning alone. Young people across the country should get ready to vote on the day of election, because their vote counts. You know, these days we have the election process is now creditably done, you know, as we saw in Ekiti, we saw in Osun State and all of that. So manipulation has been reduced to its BRS minimum by the BVAS and all of that. So your votes now count beyond the electionary, beyond the work, beyond the solidarity work and all of that. Please ensure that your PVC is being used for votes and come out. Your votes now count. Money politics and all of that, you know, it depends on how you see it. Vote buying would definitely be reduced.
So even say your party has not officially kicked off campaigns.
Yes.
But we see a number of rallies, solidarity rallies across the country. We saw in Ibadan, we saw in
fire everywhere.
Videos, right? With you know, a mammoth crowd.
Yes.
What exactly is happening?
Because campaign has kicked off since September 28th. The fact that the Presidential Campaign Council has not been inaugurated doesn't stop party members across the country to continue in a way they know and all of that. And like I said, Asiwaju is coming back. Asiwaju is around. By next week, hopefully, we will hit the streets more. There are many other wars taking place across the country for the APC presidential candidate. And from that work alone, you can see that the most popular candidate is Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
From your chocolate, seems you have a reaction, Mr. Head.
Okay. I want the Nigerians to keep hope alive. I want them to continue to support PDP in its bid to rescue the economy from hopelessness that it is now, where dollar is now $720 to $1, unlike PDP's time when we have 180 naira to $1. Then I want them to also partner with us in bringing security back truly rejigging the security architecture.
Just like you did
of
while you were
this
in government.
We can see what we are doing right away now. We
All
can see
right,
what we are
gentlemen.
doing now. And then we are going to we are going to invest. We want to ask them, especially the youth.
Unfortunately,
we want the youth to join us in education because they have a what do you call it, strike now.
Strike now.
So we are inviting them to join us so that their future will not be as bleak as this.
All right, thank you very much, gentlemen, for being on the show this morning. Mr. Leye Igbagbo, PDP Media and Publicity Director on this state. Thank you very much for being on the show.
The pleasure is mine.
And Mr. Oni Olalekon, who is the Publicity Secretary of APC in Ikeja, Lagos. Thank you very much for being a part of the show.
Thank you. Until
next week, Thursday, when we will be back. There are still more issues to discuss. So hopefully, we'll be back with more next week, Thursday. My name is Olani Oluwasegun. Good morning and thank you for listening.